Okay, good afternoon. Talks began with a statement, very encouraging statement, Secretary of State Rubio. I was honored to sit around a negotiating table with His Excellency Michelle Issa, United States Ambassador to Lebanon, and to Her Excellency Nada Hamadi, the Lebanese Ambassador to Washington. We discovered today that we're on the same side of the equation. And that's the most positive thing we could have come away with. We are both united in liberating Lebanon from an occupation power dominated by Iran called Hezbollah. Lebanon is under their occupation, and we are suffering from their constant barrages of missiles and terror attacks trying to cross our border. We talked about a number of things, and most importantly, the vision, the long-term vision, where there'll be a clearly delineated border between our countries, and where the only reason we'll need to cross each other's territory will be in business suits to conduct business or in bathing suits to go on vacation. We made it very clear that the security of our civilians is not up for negotiation. That is understood by the government of Joseph Aoun. And I must say, this was a victory for sanity, for responsibility, and for peace. Because the head of Hezbollah warned the government of Lebanon yesterday not to participate in these talks. And the government of Joseph Aoun bravely said no to Hezbollah. And this is the beginning of a very strong and fortified, consistent battle against Hezbollah. They are weakened as they've never been, and together we'll continue to rid the threat of this Iranian proxy, which is so malign and so malignant in the region. כמה מילים בעברית?
אפשר אולי רק לכאן משהו?
צהריים טובים, השגריר ייתן עכשיו הצהרה בעברית.
צהריים טובים. אני חייב לומר שהיו היום שיחות מצוינות, באווירה מצוינת. אני חושב שאפשר לומר שהיה ניצחון מוחץ היום נגד החיזבאללה. אנחנו באותו צד. העם הלבנוני והעם הישראלי, ממשלת ישראל וממשלת לבנון, אנחנו באותו צד. צריך למגר את הרשע הזה של חיזבאללה מארץ הארזים. ואנחנו מאוחדים בצורך וביכולת לעשות זאת. דיברנו על האפשרויות, דיברנו על החזון לטווח ארוך, לראות את לבנון משגשגת, ואת הגבול שבינינו, גבול קבוע, מכובד, שעוברים הלוך ושוב בגבול הזה רק עם חליפות מחויטות כדי לעשות עסקים, ועם אולי בגד ים כדי לנפוש בחופים של שתי המדינות. כמה שאלות זו.
אנחנו נעשה, I'm sorry, first question, Mike Wagenheim, I-24.
Ambassador Mike Wagenheim, I-24 News English. Is there something specific your Lebanese counterpart said today to give you optimism that the LAF will really begin to take hold in southern Lebanon and disarm Hezbollah? And also, conspicuous by their absence today were the French. Did Israel make a concerted, active effort to keep the French away from these negotiations?
Well, I hope we won't have to make a concerted effort, but we certainly don't want the French anywhere near these negotiations. We'd like to keep the French as far away as possible from pretty much everything, but particularly when it comes to peace negotiations. They're not needed. They're not a positive influence, particularly not in Lebanon. What gives me hope is the fact that the Lebanese government made it very clear that they will no longer be occupied by Hezbollah. And Iran has been weakened. Hezbollah is dramatically weakened. This is an opportunity. This is the first time our two countries are sitting together in over 3 decades. Let's feel the moment. Let's enjoy the moment. And we enjoyed it together. We had a wonderful exchange of over 2 hours, There's a joint statement that's coming out, a statement where the ambassador expressed her government's position, where I expressed my government's position, and we're going to take it from there.
Please.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Ambassador. Rahim Rashidi or Mr. Kurdi, sir. I have two quick questions. What impact could the peace agreement with Lebanon have on the region and particularly on Iran? Second question, is there any agreement among you two against militias in the region and including Hezbollah in Lebanon?
I didn't understand the second question.
Second question, do you have any agreement with Lebanon to against militias on the region, in Iraq?
Well, first of all, on the first question, it's imperative that there's a complete delinkage between Lebanon and Iran. Iran is the malign influence in the region and around the world, and Hezbollah is their proxy next to Israel. It's like a front operation of Iran against Israel. And now is the opportunity to push them back because they're as weak as they've never been. So there's an imperative to maintain that delinkage. In terms of agreement with Lebanon, we're working on the agreement on every front, on the security front and on the civil front, to try to achieve together a complete peace treaty that the moment we have the security issue solved, we can take the peace treaty and embark on a harmonious relationship like we have with the other Abraham Accord countries.
I'm sorry, Nathan Gutman, Kan 11.
בעברית בבקשה. מהו השלב הבא, אדוני השגריר? מה קורה אחרי השיחות האלה?
היו כמה הצעות, המלצות. אנחנו ניקח את ההמלצות האלה לממשלות שלנו. אני אקח אותם כמובן לראש הממשלה נתניהו, לממשלה השגרירה חמאדי, תעשי זאת עם לבנון, ונחזור בשבועות הקרובים להמשיך לשבת. אנחנו כנראה נמשיך את השיחות כאן בוושינגטון.
אדוני השגריר עידן פלר, וואלה, האם אפשר לשאול לגבי דרישות לבנוניות הקשורות להפסקת האש, ואולי שאלה אפילו יותר חשובה, האם הם הביעו איזושהי יכולת לפרק את חיזבאללה מנשקו, הצד הלבנוני?
הם הביעו את הרצון העז, הפעם באמת לפרק את חיזבאללה מנשקו. ולגבי הפסקת אש, אנחנו עוסקים רק בדבר אחד, וזאת הובהרתי היטב. אנחנו עוסקים בביטחון תושבי מדינת ישראל. מה שיבטיח את ביטחון המדינה, נעשה. מה שלא יבטיח, או יעמיד בסימן שאלה ביטחון אזרחי ישראל, לא נעשה.
Last question, Mark Stone.
Hello, Ambassador Leiter, Mark Stone from Sky News. Three brief questions. First of all, can you give us a sense of, put this moment into context for us? You're talking about Israelis going on holiday to Lebanon and the other way around. I mean, that is extraordinary. So put this in context for us. Secondly, when will Israel cease fire against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon? Because at the moment, the fighting is ongoing. And lastly, the Lebanese ministers have told us that in a sense Israel is undermining what their effort is, which is they are calling for Hezbollah to disarm, they're calling for dialogue. They say they're doing everything they can and that you're undermining things by continuing to fight in the south.
There may be some ministers that say some things for the publicity purposes, but the Lebanese know very well that they would not have been able to move into a new era of peace were it not for the fact that we've degraded Hezbollah. There would be nothing to talk about if it wasn't for the fact that, Hassan Nasrallah, for example, who talked about Israel being nothing more than a spider web, is now living among the spiders. We've degraded Hezbollah, which has enabled Lebanon and the government of Joseph Aoun to take bold steps into direct negotiations with Israel. And that's the context. That's the change that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have brought across the region. With the degrading of Iran, this malign and malignant entity that's trying to destabilize the entire region, there is now the opportunity to degrade its proxies as well, to move them out of their horrific occupation of another country, and to move into an era where Lebanese and Israelis can live side by side in peace. And yes, vacation in each other's countries. It's not a pipe dream. It's a reality that can really happen in our lifetime.
But when will you stop firing in Lebanon? When will you stop firing missiles at the Lebanese civilian infrastructure? I guess that's their question.
I want to push back on your question.
Okay.
Israelis don't wake up in the morning and look to fire missiles across the border. The missiles are being fired at our civilians. That will be put a stop to. We will not allow a terror organization to continually fire missiles into our population centers. That has to be understood by anybody asking such a question. The Lebanese understand that. I hope the media will as well.
Do you think